that people have not understood what democracy is all about. You will agree with me that in the countries of dictators, there will be no protests, there will be no booing. Protests, booing, debates is part of the culture of democracy. Now, unfortunately, people misunderstand this, misread this. Now, as in political democracy, people engage heads of states. People criticize heads of state. They call for their removal, etc., because they are expressing freely. That's culture of democracy. If I was one of you, I would write columns and columns, educate people about democracy, and saying how South Africa is democratic. Because that is, in a sense, a thermometer to check whether democracy works. A country where there is no democracy, there will be an angry president charging the police to arrest these people. But democracy says, let the people express themselves. That's why in democracy, governments are in place democratically and removed democratically through the vote. I don't know what is it that makes people to be excited. Perhaps it's the news, WEF stuff, fine. But that is culture of democracy. In autocratic and dictatorship states, you can't see that. To me, I'm very happy that South Africans have matured in democracy. And you have a president that they can talk to, whatever is in their minds. It's not restricted. They are not going to be arrested. They are not going to be harassed. That is democracy. I wish I was a journalist and a columnist.
Mr. President,
I would educate people about democracy.
I have a question for you. What's the message you're sending out to the delegates that are here, the 1,000-odd people? Is it business as usual, or are there some challenges you're facing?
No. The world is changing. The world is changing, as it will always change. Otherwise, it will be stagnant. People talk today about the fourth industrial revolution. In other words, it says our thinking must change. Now, I'm saying Africa is placed in a situation where you can stretch your imagination, given the fact that it is a developing region of all the global regions, and therefore to come to South Africa, to come to Africa is what we need to do. That is why I'm saying the very fact that there is unprecedented attendance, it indicates that the world is moving with the developments. So I'm very happy. The call is come to Africa. We are no longer discussing theory in Africa. We are discussing projects to make Africa one whole, that if you do business in Africa, you do with us all. We are interconnecting Africa. We are developing infrastructure to make the business easy to do in Africa. So the message is come to Africa. That's where things are happening.
Mr. President, why are the masses in Africa, the people, the masses are unhappy with this conference? Who represents the poor in this conference? This conference to us is a mixture of heads of state and big businesses. Who represents the poor population here? And why are they unhappy with this conference?
Well, I haven't heard that there are people who are unhappy. Maybe I've been reading different kind of news.
There are demonstrations.
Well, demonstrations are always there.
So who represents them? Give me the name of someone, just one person.
Who?
The name of someone here.
Who elected me?
Yeah.
Who, just 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. I must help him. Yeah. President. Are not the masses. And then who represents the masses? It's not me. I'm an African. I was elected by the Africans. What's your problem? What is your problem? You are imagining another masses. But why do you discard the majority, so huge majority that elected the government here? Why do you think they don't exist if you see us? We have a problem. You have a problem.
Why do you have only heads of state and big businesses in this conference?
This is how it is structured. Wealth is structured in that way. It is heads of state who come to discuss issues. Head of business, that's what it is.
The poor say
wait a bit, don't push things that don't exist. That is your problem, media.
The poor say.
Wait, hang on. Don't ask me that question, because I don't invite people.
Mr. President.
The invitations come from WEF. Why don't you ask the WEF, why are you not inviting the masses? Why do you ask me? Don't politicize things in a wrong way.
Mr. President, definitely WEF is going to have a short-term impact on South African economy. WEF is going to have a short-term impact for South Africa, and after all these delegates and all the conversations are done. Now, are you worried about the political situation in South Africa right now, and the kind of legacy you're going to leave?
No, I'm not worried about the political situation in South Africa. South Africa is a democratic country. In any other democratic country, there is talk, there is open discussions. Only in the autocratic countries that thing is limited. I'm not worried. I'm very happy that democracy is maturing in South Africa. The masses, the leaders, the analysts have a right to express their views. You should be expressing an appreciation for that.
You're leaving the office right now, Mr. President. Now
I'm not leaving the office right now. Not at all. Not leaving the office right now.
Yes, but what will be the end game?
Mr. President, the World Economic Forum comes at a time where there's tension around the world. We saw what happened in terms of US and Korea and Middle East as well. How do you ensure that there's peace and stability around the world so that we can have this development around the world?
Now, I think you are asking the question, very important one. Because some people look at countries and think that it is only happening in one country. There is a kind of a change, as I said at the beginning. The world is changing. Whether you talk about United States, whether you talk about United Kingdom, there have been changes that have taken place everywhere because the world is changing. We are saying, for an example, we are entering the fourth industrial revolution. The question that faces the leaders of the world, both economically and politically, how do we meet this kind of new challenge? What do we do? In 2014, when we were in Davos, the theme was the gap between the rich and the poor is increasing. The question is, what are we doing as leaders to close the gap? Are we just lamenting about the gap or doing something? Here in South Africa, we are talking, for an example, about radical economic transformation in order to address that, in order to achieve inclusive growth. That's what we are saying. And therefore, these leaders have to face that reality. And I'm happy that it is happening here in Africa, because we as Africans as well, we are no longer remaining behind, people talking on our behalf. We are part of the process, and we are therefore debating with the world, what are the solutions of the changing world today? That is what I'm expecting, that people who analyze, who are in a sense participating in the, looking at the changes, what are they saying? What needs to be done? We need to come with the solutions. How do we deal with that? In South Africa, which, by the way, is the worst of all countries, because no country ever practiced institutionalized racism. We have an additional point, and that's why we need to be more vocal, more clear, more focused as to what do we need to do. And I'm happy that we have this meeting here, because we can exchange views on broader economic issues and political issues and be able to say this is a direction we all need to take.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Where you go? Oh, an elephant.
Yes, brother. Thank you very much.
Oh,
your laptop is very safe with me.
Hello.
Hi.
Your iPad. Thanks, my brother. Thanks.